At this hour from New York, I'm Haley Bianco, Salem News Channel. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he's introducing martial law in 4 Russian-occupied regions of Ukraine that Moscow claims as its own territory. In televised remarks to members of his Security Council, Putin also instructed the government to set up a special coordinating council to work with Russia's regions to boost Moscow's war effort in Ukraine. Putin said the measures he was ordering would increase the stability of the economy, industry, and production. One of the European Union's leaders has caused controversy by saying that the rest of the world is like a jungle. The comments prompted accusations of racism and colonial view of global affairs. Our correspondent Alex Cadier brings us the latest from Brussels.
The European Union's top diplomat has been forced to issue an apology after being embroiled in a racism row. Josep Borrell, the EU's foreign policy chief, was accused of racism after saying that Europe is a garden where everything works, and the rest of the world is a jungle that could invade the garden. Academics and foreign leaders accused Borrell of imperialism, and the United Arab Emirates summoned the acting head of the EU delegation for an explanation. The criticism forced a reluctant apology from Mr. Borrell, who said that his comments were misinterpreted, adding that he was sorry if some had felt offended. In Brussels, Alex Cadier for Salem News Channel.
President Biden announced a plan today to sell 15 million barrels of crude oil from the nation's emergency supply and begin refilling the reserve as he tries to tame high gas prices. The move comes 2 weeks after the Saudi Arabia-led OPEC Plus organization sided with Russia and agreed to a production cut. Biden in March authorized the release of 180 million barrels that was supposed to occur over 6 months. The strategic reserve now contains roughly 400 million barrels of oil, its lowest level since 1984. In business news today, BMW announced that it's investing $1 billion in its factory near Spartanburg, South Carolina, to begin producing electric vehicles. This will create more than 11,000 jobs for American workers. BMW is also putting down $700 million to build an electric battery plant nearby. BMW hopes to increase electric vehicle production by 10% every 2 years, with the goal of having EVs amount to half its total auto production by 2030. The Biden administration today awarded $2.8 billion in grants to 20 companies in 12 states to build and expand domestic manufacturing of batteries for electric vehicles. The administration says electric vehicles are a key part of Biden's strategy to slow climate change and build up U.S. manufacturing. These plans come in response to the Inflation Reduction Act, which includes tax credits and incentives for purchasing an electric vehicle. An investigation reveals that internet service providers often offer drastically different speeds to different customers, even when those customers live in the same city. The Markup, an American nonprofit organization, conducted the investigation and found that poor, less white U.S. neighborhoods are being offered the worst internet deals. They report that the internet offered is so slow that it doesn't even meet federal regulators' definition of broadband. But the providers are charging the same amount for that service as they do for their fastest speeds in other neighborhoods. Our D.C. correspondent Jeremy House takes a deeper look at the problem.
Having a fast internet connection at home is becoming a requirement for many Americans, especially with the rise of remote education and working from home due to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, an investigation by the Markup has found that in many cases, the poorest parts of a city only are offered service that's so slow it doesn't meet federal regulators' definition of broadband, and providers regularly charge the same amount for that service as they do for their fastest speeds in other neighborhoods. In Washington, Jeremy House, Salem News Channel.
Hurricane Ian's high winds and drenching rains have passed, but the effects continue taking a toll. A new report finds preliminary agriculture losses in Florida from Ian could reach $1.56 billion. The University of Florida reports that cattle, vegetables, melons, and citrus operations have been hit the hardest. U.S. Senator Marco Rubio says that $3 billion in federal funding is needed to cover costs from loss of crops and trees, and says it's crucial not to let Ian make agricultural land disappear. And that's news at this hour. In New York, I'm Haley Bianco, Salem News Channel.